Evening, everybody. It is today. Welcome to the Extraordinary Man Podcast. I am Phil Jones or Mike Jones. Have you guys know me personally or professionally? And I am the host of the Extraordinary Man Podcast. And you guys know the most amazing gentleman to ever put a hat on in a podcast that y'all will ever see in your lifetime. I don't think he needs an introduction, but just in case you guys are confused about who this gentleman is, introduce yourself.
Good evening. What is going on there, everybody? It is Midas. Make sure you put a king in front of that. Let's go.
All right, so without further ado, if you listen, you will find out. What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? If you listen, you will find out. Topic of today is coming to the realization that things have more use than what meets the eye. And a lot of times they're not given the proper credit that they need for what they produce, or what they do, or what they are about. Where are we going with this? Let me tell you where we're going with this. What happens is that when you get into relationships or you get into certain situations, you may not realize the entire value of what these things actually have to offer. You don't necessarily know all the practical uses, and sometimes we take for granted some of these situations. Why does this happen? Well, because the society sometimes has you convinced that things are supposed to work a certain kind of way, because you may feel that your partner is somehow in control of your happiness. You may feel that you're looking for some level of fulfillment in your life that is really non existent or is self defined. And somehow the only person or only thing that you can blame the lack of fulfillment on is the thing that's sitting right across from you. If you listen, you will find out that most common times you have a very misguided understanding of what this is all about. Midas, what's your thoughts on that?
I think that when you I think that when you allow certain ideologies or certain people around you in your circle to try to convince you of certain things or to try to convey that this should be how you should operate or move within the constraints of yourself or where you trying to go and what you trying to do and what you trying to build, it can kind of misconstrue a lot of things as far as uh, pursuit to happiness, per se, of trying to fulfill certain things in your life, uh, prioritizing the wrong things versus prioritizing the things that actually would give you more fulfillment. So that's what I get from that.
Well, let's take this part into consideration. Number one, first things first. Most common times when I hear somebody speak on what a real man should be, it is never coming out the mouth of a man.
Yeah, 100%. Yes.
Even more so than that, it's usually coming out of the mouth of somebody who doesn't even have a man. This is absolutely no disrespect to any of my single ladies out there. And as much as I hate to use disclaimers when I speak, for the sake of making sure that there's a mutual level of understanding or a mutual level of respect, it is just based off of experience only. But generally, I have heard out of my mouth people give concepts of what they think something is. Some of the most some of the most financial advice given people are people with no money.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like
I think
it's so
that's a concept of a smoker telling you not to smoke and all that. Yeah.
and a lot of times you wonder where the root of this behavior comes from. Why do people who have no practical knowledge or no valid experience in these areas feel so compelled to offer advice about what they think something is?
I think because they try to utilize their own life experiences in which they fail to understand is that your life experience has nothing to do with my life experience and or can't contribute to anything of what I got going on at all. So I don't know. Maybe you feel that you think you in my lane, or we on the same level or something. I don't know. I have no clue. I don't know why they feel compelled to think that they're somehow all of a sudden qualified and certified and degreed and all that to start giving advice. I have no idea.
You know what generally happens is you'll find yourself in a situation to where you've made so many mistakes that in your mind, if you educate people about the mistakes that you made, that you're somehow doing them a service, which in certain respects you are because you're informing them, don't be like me. But the advice never comes in a form of don't make the mistakes that I made. It's usually okay, don't make the mistakes I made, instead do this. So for you know the concept of hitting the wall.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The concept of hitting the wall, what does that concept mean?
Could mean two things. One, it could mean that you hit the dead end and you can't just seem to figure out and get a grasp on what you're trying to do and where you're trying to go. And the second thing is you hit the wall of where it was your time. You wasted all of your prime time trying to find and capture. I ain't gonna use the word capture, but to attract the opposite sex to have a successful relationship. You're past your prime.
So let's go ahead and let's run with one of each of those, and let's see where we can come from with these situations. When a person is hitting a wall, it usually means that you are coming to a barrier or coming to a place to where the greater portion of what you have to offer is no longer applicable. So, for instance, for somebody who is reaching an age to where you're, it's going to become incredibly more difficult to have children. And now this is the point to where you decide that, oh, I'm finally ready to settle down and have a relationship. Well, to somebody who wants to have multiple children, or you might not be the most eligible person to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
To somebody who is past their prime when it comes to making financial decisions and they've aged themselves out of the workforce, you have to understand that you put yourself in a position to where you really are incapable of going out to correct those mistakes because your higher ability is now diminished as far as companies that are going to pay you the right amount of money giving you the opportunity. I've seen people who are able to turn things around, but the ability to do so becomes incredibly more difficult the older that you get because companies are not taking chances on teaching people who are set in their ways as much as they want the young and impressionable and the ones that are easily moldable to the way that the company wants you to be. So in a bunch of different scenarios, you'll find a circumstance to where, yes, the cliche is it's never too late. But the reality is sometimes that door is going to close.
Yeah, it will.
You said what?
I said, yeah, it will, and it's gonna hit you where the sun don't shine.
So now let's talk about the listening part. The listening part, I think that when it comes down to dealing with things, just a multitude of subjects, I think that people have a bad case of I want to do it my way. I think a lot of times there are people who come around in life, kind of like the Jiminy Cricket effect. There are some people who are really trying to assist you, or they see what you're doing, and they really want to try to mold you or try to give you some sound advice or some sound wisdom. I think that a lot of times that this is where a lot of husband and wives have problems because one will try to assist the other one, but the way that they're assisting is not the way that I want the assistance, or is not necessarily valuable to me what you're trying to offer me. Like, hey, I really need you to dedicate some time into this particular area of my life in order for us to get from here to here. Well, I don't want to do that. So
Right.
you mean to tell me that, let me carry the one, that I can take us from here to here, and all I'm asking for is a sacrifice. But that sacrifice you are unwilling to make, but that sacrifice directly influences your own future?
I don't think they see it that way. And I think that they want to help, but it's I want to help in the way that I want to help. That's not helpful. If I need you to work the phone, try to reach out to see if you can find different clients, see if they we can get on a bid list so when a project comes down, they can add us to the email so we could be a company that bids on that job. I need you to kind of, you know what I'm saying, shake hands, bump elbows, and kiss babies over the phone for me, reaching out to different companies. If you don't want to do that, that's not helping me because you just only wanting to just send emails. That's not, I mean, yeah, it's a tiny help, but that's not the assistance that I asked for. I asked for you to do this because I know doing this is what's going to bring in the money and this is what's going to take us to the next level, and I think a lot of partners lose sight of that. That you got to understand that say me doing this it isn't you helping me. It's you helping us so that we can go do something else and move into something bigger and move into something better. And you know what I'm saying? And
Of course.
build our pot.
I mean, I think a lot of large picture thinking gets taken out of the equation when it comes to the case of the what I do and don't want to do
Yeah,
in
because
my
they can't see the
circumstances.
larger picture.
I'm sorry.
They can't see the larger picture. They only see like what's right in front of them, and a lot of people operate life like that. Like this is right here. So a lot of people, and I use this analogy a lot. Like you got your thing with all your pastels, your paints on it, which is stick your thumb through it and hold it, and you got your paintbrush, and then you got this ginormous canvas. You got a lot of people that honestly cannot go to that canvas and picture a picture on the canvas before they have to see the picture and then they can picture the picture. They can't picture it for themselves. And even when you try to explain, hey, look, this is what I'm trying to do, this is what I got going on. I know if we do this and we do it well, if I knock this job out the park, it's gonna flood. The gates are just gonna flood open. We'll be able, I'm this is gonna allow me to hire this person, this person, this person. We could take on more work. I say by the end of the year, we'll be able to get this car. The family's grown, so we got to get a bigger car, da 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 da. And when you try to explain all that, when you try to explain the picture, they just still don't get it.
Well, I want you to take into consideration using your same analogy, and I'm pretty sure that most people can relate to this. And if I just transpose it a tad bit, is that most of us are trained to draw within the lines. So if they can't see the stencil, they're lost.
Exactly. That's exactly my point.
Yeah. So many people are not able to grab a pen and just free draw because their lives' purposes have always been created within parameters. So as long as somebody else sets the parameters, but then people want to get independent minded sometimes at the wrong time. Like maybe this is not the time to veer off into the great beyond. Maybe this is the time to consolidate a situation so that you can be allowed access to other things. The larger picture is always the more important picture, in my opinion. And when it comes down to how we often do things in a society, especially in a modern society, because it's not necessarily about what's in the best interest of the whole. It seems like it's what's in the best interest of myself. And I will give you a piece of what I acquire but it's not about what am I willing to sacrifice for the greater good of everybody involved. You know, I thought
You
that
know,
was what compromise. I thought that was what the premise that compromise was built on.
that's the only premise that it was built on. It's a matter of, are these principles being followed? Are these standards being carried out? That's what it's boiling down to. It's like the standards of compromise, the principles of compromise don't matter anymore.
You know, I want you to really think about this. And anybody that's out here listening, they just chime in as you see fit. I think that we are in a place to where self gratification has become so common that we're not even in relationships. We're just in like companionships.
Hmm.
A lot of us are just, it takes us years to learn how to chip away layers of selfishness in relationships just to come to the realization what's most important.
That's crazy that you say that. I was listening to this podcast, and man, I wish I could remember this guy's name. But he said something along the lines of, to where that we're no longer in relationships to date people. We're now in relationships to date their material. All of their material possessions, all of their resources, that's what we're dating. We're no longer dating the actual person and getting to know them and really falling in love with them. And like all of that is out of the window. It's more about the lifestyle.
You
You
know,
good?
yeah, I'm good. No, I'm just making sure that my internet ain't about to act up on me.
Uh-oh.
I mean, we're gonna rock and roll, but no, it's.
Net.com.
You said what?
Janknet.com.
Hey man, look, finally get the wireless mic going, and now the internet want to act up. Like, here we go. No, but a lot of things from my experience have been based on just learning that we as people, we have selfish intentions. That comes with it. That comes kind of standard. With having these selfish intentions, we want to be gratified. Well, we're the ones that have to put in the work. We're the ones that have to be available. The one thing that is that along the board, and this isn't just apply to relationships, this applies to almost any situation where multiple people are involved in a said circumstance, is that we get into these positions. And oftentimes, these positions that we get into is where one party or one sector of the party is more willing to make the compromise than the other ones.
Hmm.
And when you try to explain the greater good of the situation, there's always somebody that is slow and rebellious and unwilling to go along with the program because they either A, don't want to feel stupid, and because it's not their idea, automatically they feel stupid. B, because they're stubborn. C, because they think that they know better than you. D, because they don't truly understand. And no matter how many times that you explain it, it seems more confusing each time that it's explained. Five, they pretend like they know, but they really don't know, but they're too prideful to admit that they don't understand. Or number six, all of the above.
Number 7, they just don't want to put the work in.
Mm.
Tired. I already cook. I already clean. I already handle the kids. Already this. Already that. Well, you don't have to work though. You don't have to worry about. You don't have to worry about significant bills. All your college debt, all your credit cards, your car note, everything. It's all handled. I just need you to do this so we can. I need you to help me move into this position so I can continue to do that for us. You know, but they don't see that.
Let's look at it from this point of view. How many times have you tried to give people information valuable information, stuff that you actually can verify works. And how often, if you could just throw a percentage out there, how often is that information just kind of kicked off to the wayside?
100%, because you can give as many examples as you like. A perfect example: Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. Okay, she stood behind him and made sure that she did everything in her power to help her husband become president. When her husband was president, she continued to work. She worked in all different type of ministries and did all types of stuff, passed bills, all types of stuff. Now she has now what Barack Obama did in return is he put uh libraries and schools in her name. She has the number one selling box office hit book. What is New York best time seller? Like the love was reciprocated back. And I think that taking that back seat for a little bit seems to be a problem now when it wasn't years ago. Let's prop me up. Let's do this. Let's secure the bag. And then when it's my turn to do you, you got Easy Street. I got this connect, that connect, this connect, that connect. I got this company, that company, this company, that company, all at the fingertips. I can just pick up a phone. I can call Disney and say, "Hey, I need you to put my daughter in one of your newest movies. I need her to be a voice actor in one of the new movies." Done. Hey, I need you to put my wife over here. She got this book coming out. I need you to get with Oprah. I need you to get Oprah to co-sign this book. I need you to get Rachel Ray uh to write a recipe and put it in the book as well. And da da da. And the book is gonna fly off the shelf. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the reciprocation. I think them not seeing that part of it gets thrown out and it gets kicked to the side. Help me help you.
Do you
We
think that that's something that you have to discuss?
oh
Do you
go
think
ahead.
that's something that has to be discussed in the beginning?
Um I would say yes and no. I would say yes because it kind of lays out a guideline as to how you want the relationship to be constructed and operated. And I would say no, because as you guys move along in a relationship and you start growing together and moving together, you start to see like you're in the relationship. So you should be able to see these transitions take place as to, okay, I started at a gas station and then I moved over here. Then I became this. Then I started becoming this. Now I'm this. Now I'm owner of this. Now I'm owner of that. Now I'm board member of this. Like when you start seeing the transition, like I don't, what's understood doesn't have to be explained, in my opinion. If you see that these humongous strides is taking place, you should be able to put yourself in position to take these strides with me. If I need you to, you know what I'm saying, get your hair whipped up, nails done, we finna go to this gala so we can go talk to these people and try to land this contract. I need you to play the part. I need you to help me bring in this contract. You know what I'm saying? Go over there with the owner's wife. Start chit-chatting with her. She look awkward. Maybe you could help her come out of her shell. And just that alone right there will help us get. Oh man, I love her. Yes. Johnny, give them the contract. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to play. Everybody has a role. You know what I'm saying? Like I know everybody don't like that word role in a relationship, but everybody has a role. And you got to know how to play your role when it's time to play your role.
I was just actually going to ask you. That was going to be the next question I was going to ask, following up. Is that do you think that a lot of people have a hard time coming to a realization that sometimes the part that you play is not the same part recurrent?
Yes. They have a I would say yes. You know what I'm saying? Look, I play I play a doctor. I only play a doctor. That is my role. I was born to play a doctor. That's all I'm gonna play as a doctor. And then you landlock yourself to only being a doctor. Well, that you lose opportunities of being able to go over here and play in this movie and be an action hero. You lose opportunities to go over here and be something else in this movie. You lose opportunities to go over here and be something else in that movie. And you're potentially shortening your own bag. You're potentially shortening your own bag. And I know that we talked about the concept of, saying switching the hats like Super Mario. Mario has a different hat for every job. You know what I'm saying? When he needs to climb a wall or something, then he puts on the cat hat. When he needs to jump real high, then he puts on the frog hat. When he needs to go down to the bottom of the ocean or the water to get that star, he puts on the metal hat. And I know that concept works very well when it comes to men, but I think that it should work for women as well. When I need you to step into this role, I need you to put this. Well, we're gonna use dress. How about that? If that makes it sound better, I need you to put this dress on.
Now you're being gender specific, sir.
But
Don't do that.
I
Let's
mean, I'm just saying if it helps with the analogy, you know what I'm saying? Like if we moving over here in this position, then I need you to put this dress on. If we moving over here in that position, I need you to put that dress on so we can continue to move in the position where we need to go. We trying to do real estate. We trying to, what I'm saying, make sure the kids' college funds is straight. We trying to make sure that, they're gonna be asking for vehicles when they turn 16. Like if we trying to make sure that all of that is there and secure, then I need you on board following this program and doing what it needs to take so that we can make sure that we secure that. Period.
So now, in the event that you have a partner that doesn't necessarily want to go along with that game plan, what's the alternative?
It's rough when you got time in. When you got time in, it's rough. I don't know. I really don't know. It's rough because it's easy to say, well, just move on, kick it to the side. But you know what I'm saying? It ain't that easy, dog. You
It's
can't do
not a
that.
reality. It's like
It's
I
not a
think
reality.
that I think that when you look at certain aspects of society, like you look at divorce rates and you look at the way that things have gone over the course of the last 50, 60 years, no matter how stressful it is, we're generally not the ones that's leaving.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty much almost never. Almost never. Not saying
Yeah,
we don't. Almost we never leave.
statistically 20%.
That's pretty to me. That's like never.
I mean, with that much being said, it's like you have to. I like to look at it from this point. It's like obviously there are some extremes. There are reasons why the divorce rates and stuff like that are so high. But when it comes down to it, when I hear people say irreconcilable differences, first thing comes to my head when I hear that is, oh, they don't want to work together. They can't. They can't figure it out. Somebody they can't stop butting heads with each other about the major issues, and nobody wants to put their sword down.
To me, I hear two alphas in the same household. That's what I hear. That doesn't work.
That oftentimes make me think about that concept of I think I think anybody who believes in a power couple or the concept of a power couple, I think that their brain doesn't function properly and they probably need more oxygen and more water more often.
Yeah, agreed.
I think that the only real power couple is a couple that can agree and can jump and ebb and flow between roles, and their primary goals are family first and putting the important things first without deviating away from the plan. I think that the real power is in your ability to agree with one another.
Yeah, I
Don't
think
think
that
there's like I think that we are too dependent on money and career and status, and not enough about securing a healthy upbringing of the next generation. Like it's too much bent into self gratification and how things look, like his and hers cars.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what my whole thing was about. Securing for the family. That was what my whole talk was about. Securing for the family.
And I believe that that's the only real power. Is the power is your ability to do what's in the best benefit of the family. Is your ability to tuck away your instant gratification for the greater good of the whole. That's the real power. The real power is being able to shut out society's faux pas in order to allow yourself to invest more time and energy into things that's going to make the household better, that's going to make the family better, that's going to make the community better. And I think
Yeah.
that a lot of times it's just like, hey, the idea of the boss. I want to be the boss. I want to be the big shot. And I think that it's just like it's a very small fry mentality.
Yeah. I would say so. It really just depends. Now if we trying to be the boss, we can definitely rock with that. And it's like I like what you were saying as far as you know, both being agreeable and both having the same plan and moving in the same direction. My football coach, shout out Coach Stein, uh, back in the day, he used to tell us if we're gonna win, we need to move as one unit. He would say one body, one heartbeat. We have to move as one. There is no you going that way, the arm over there doing what he want to do, and the leg over there doing what it wanted. We all have to be one body, and it has to be one motion moving to the end zone. Everybody got to move. And I think a relationship is the same way. Everybody, both man, woman, man, woman, woman, it don't matter. Giraffe, can't I don't care. Whatever you are, I'm rocking with it. But you guys have to be on the same playbook. You got to be in the same playbook, and not only in the same playbook, but you have to be running the same play. You know what I'm saying? If we call an audible, we have to be in agreement. Hey, we're gonna call an audible on this one. You know what I'm saying? So one body, one heartbeat. And I think that will kill all these divorces and mishaps and under misunderstandings and it's definitely a step in the right direction.
I agree with part of that. I think that one of the biggest misconceptions is that the need to be right supersedes the needs of everybody else. I think that individualism is killing society. I really think that it's a point in time to where, and I say it again, is like my own personal gratification oftentimes is more important than actually making something happen in a partnership climate, because a win for us is a win for us. A win for you might only be a win for you. So the thing is that before I do anything or before I place myself in any situation, everybody involved has to understand how this works, how this benefits. I personally, at this age, I'm not going to just up and change occupations without having that conversation first. Reason being is because of the fact that other people and their lifestyles are directly affected by the income that I earn, by the decisions that I make, by the things that this particular career that I do offers. So I have to think about the insurance.
Hmm.
What benefits do the insurance hold? I have to think about is somebody currently undergoing treatment that this would disrupt? So yeah, I might have to endure another year of this to make sure that I don't break up that therapy, that I don't have to find another primary care or another practitioner to cover this thing that we've already been in the process of for insert time frame here. Sometimes you have to think about the large picture that if I only focused on my own happiness, I will destroy everything around me in the process because, oh, I hate this place. Oh, I don't want to be here anymore.
Mhm.
Oh, I don't like this. Oh, I just decide I want to do something different. I got bored. I don't like the company. I don't like the way they
Unstable.
operate.
That's a stable individual. You're very unstable, undecisive, impulsive. You don't put you know what I'm saying, you put your needs in front of everybody else, especially when you have a family and you put your needs first. It's irrational. I mean, you're definitely a dangerous individual to be with and or possibly be around. You know, that's a rabbit hole to be that type of guy.
There's a quote from the Bible from the King James version, not LeBron. Um, James 1:8, and it says, "A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways." What does that mean? That means that you can't serve two masters. If this is the plan, this is the plan. I can't be on this program and this program at the same time. It just can't happen. They cannot coexist in the same space. So if it's team, what's in the best interest for the family, that means that I'm gonna have to give something up in order to make sure that everybody wins. If it's team self, oh well, guess what? This thing over here is gonna get ripped to shreds.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of times in relationships, regardless of how long, actually, you know what? Let me say it like this. I feel in my heart of hearts when it comes down to relationships, one of the key things that starts to kill relationships or starts to kill the understanding in those relationships is a newfound desire to reconnect with individuality.
Mm. Yeah, I think that whole, I got to get it myself. I got to get it on my own. I have to build my own. I have to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like me.
I feel unfulfilled. I
I
feel
feel
this. I
unfulfilled.
feel that. I feel this. I feel that. When it's just like, okay, well,
Key word
what
is
about,
feel.
but what about the program? What about the program? Yeah, but I don't want to. I think that immediately once you get to bucking against the system and your only retorts begin with, but at that point in time is where you need to check yourself. And I don't think a lot of us in those situations, when you're on this side of the spectrum where you're receiving the retorts, you are trying to find the peaceful resolve. So you're not checking them and saying, you are being selfish right now because you are literally going to disrupt the balance and the flow of what we have because of a momentary dissatisfaction.
Ashley said, but where is the hey honey? Can you help me achieve this? Let's work together to make this puzzle piece fit.
Well, that's the entire premise that it's a us thing, that we operate as a us thing. So if you come to a realization that what's working for you or what was working is not working for you, you don't deviate away from how we operate because we're talking about a method of operation. We're not talking about getting up and eating grits and chicken every day for the rest of your life because that's what we've always done. We're talking about not deviating away from partnership, around understanding that today's goal may not be tomorrow's goal. Number one, we finish what we start. And number two, we put ourselves in a position to where we can sit down and have a conversation and say, I'm not satisfied where I am. I would like to do something different. Let's review a potential option to move into a different direction, or for me to change what I do, but contribute the way that I've been contributing so that we can finish out what we started. So if you said, I no longer want to pursue this career, I want to do something else. Okay, let's sit down and let's look at it. Now, if you come to me tomorrow and say, I quit my job, and it's just like, well, why did you do that? I wasn't feeling fulfilled. Okay, well, what do you have lined up? Nothing right now. I think I'll just chill for a little while. Well, did you consider how that was going to impact us to make that decision? No, I was just so fed up, and it was either I just let it go or I curse everybody out, and I was gonna. It's those type of things to where when you're so in your own head that you will literally sacrifice the benefits of everybody for yourself. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Your own kids too. Ruthless.
Yeah. I mean, I think that a lot of situations happen to where we don't always consider the long term effect of individual decisions. Now, if you are operating as an individual, fine, do whatever it is that you do because you're the only one that has to account for that decision that's being made. But when other people's lives are, or their livelihoods are contingent on the decisions that are made for the collective, anything that you do that is deviating away from us working together and planning together and building together accordingly is at the detriment of everybody involved.
I think that I mean, and we spoke before about how business I mean how, marriage is a business. And I really think that, it really needs to be taken seriously in that manner. Now, as far as like, let's say that you and your significant other want to get into real estate. Well, you and your significant other are supposed to come to the table because this is what a real business does. And I've sat in tons of board meetings. What business owners do is they will sit down, they will come to the table, they'll talk about this piece of property. They're going to talk about all the comps in the area. They're going to talk about the crime rate in the area. They're going to talk about how well the school district is in the area. All of the surrounding amenities is like Walmarts and the Targets and everything else. How easily is it can you get to the highway and everything else that goes along with that, the ROI and all of that, okay? All that boils down to is risk assessment. Now, I feel differently about risk. I'm about that risk, but I'm in a different playing field, but you're supposed to sit down and come together and have these talks about the risk assessment of the decisions that you guys want to make. So, like you talking about the young lady, it was a hypothetical statement, but the young lady that just up and just quit a job because she felt that she was going to cuss somebody out and didn't think about the consequences of how that was going to affect the rest of the family. She was supposed to have came to her partner or significant other, her other co-owner, business owner, sat down and talked about the risk assessment of quitting that said job. That line of communication needs to be open back and forth with one another.
Yeah, like let's find a way to help you transition out of that situation and
That's that right.
minimize the amount of damage that can potentially be done. So maybe I can hold it down for a while, but let me move this around. Let me put something in place so that I can say, okay, here's a 3 month window for you to kind of take a breather, reassess things, and then and take yourself into a different direction. So a
Mhm.
lot of times it's like we get to these places to where we don't want to work together. And it's like, I'm not even gonna just put it all in one direction. I'll say it too. A lot of time us as men, we are very stubborn. I remember that early on in my relationship, I thought that I because I was the man of the relationship, that meant that I was always right. That because of the fact that you get final say, that everything that you say should be treated as if you're like always right about what you say. And I had to come to an astonishing realization that, I'm not always as right as I like to believe I am.
For
Now, if
sure.
you're seeing comments on the side, for whatever reason, my internet is acting up on the side. So feel free to jump in there. I can't see them on this end.
Oh, you can't?
I can't see them at all.
I got you. I got you. First of all, thank you guys for popping in and rocking with us today. All right, so we got Ashley back again. She said you have to consider your partner, your kids, etc. You got to think big picture before making those big decisions. Exactly. And we actually use an analogy of using the canvas, the mural, how you got a lot of people that can only think with inside coloring in the lines, and then you got somebody like a Da Vinci, Picasso. You give them a chisel and a hammer or a paintbrush and they go bananas with it. So yeah, we definitely talked about that whole, big picture thinking and making great qualified decisions. An executive decision isn't always the best route to go.
You know, I think that one of the biggest executive decisions is knowing who has the competency in that area and allowing them to have the final say. Like sometimes because of the fact that an effective leader knows how to lean on their people. You
Mhm.
know who is more qualified to have conversations or who's more qualified to lead a discussion. I know that when it comes down to certain things, I'm not the most qualified. I'm not the best educated. And I'm going to lean on the person who I know that is the most qualified and best educated. It's just like in my current field. As a supervisor, I'm not a practitioner of the day to day. So observing people who do it properly every day and creating a model based off of how it's done properly. This is the standard that I want to create because I see the efficiency. I see the benefits of how that routine works every single day. I don't do it every day. I don't have the best knowledge all the time on how to do it. I can tell you about how it used to be when I did it, but it's a different ball game. Things change, things evolve, and there are better ways to go about almost any situation. So by observing who does it well and learning from them and relearning and recertifying your learning by the people who do it properly, it always makes you effective because you know this is how things get done well. So when you see something deviating against that, that's probably not going to work.
Yeah, I like when you said that, having a qualified executive decision is knowing somebody else is qualified to either give you the answer or give you advice. There's back in the day when Henry Ford, was starting his company, rocking and rolling, doing well. They the I think it was the government. They actually sued him trying to get him to shut down his company because all he had was a sixth grade education, and somebody with a sixth grade education shouldn't be making cars because technically, a car technically is a bomb. But anyway, what he said when he was on the stand was, I'm able to make the decisions that I make and operate the way I operate because of the team that I have around me. If there's something that I honestly need to know, all I have to do is push a button, and a person that's qualified in that area can give me the educated answer that's tried and tested and verified to work. That person that has spent their life learning this information, I can talk to them and lean on them to give me the qualified answers that I need to be able to make the decisions that I make. And he won his case off that. But it tied right into what you were saying is relinquishing, you know, what is it, power of attorney over to somebody that's better qualified than you.
And there's
And I think
nothing shameful about it. There's
no.
not like first and foremost, let me put this out here to all my prideful people that's out there. And I'm speaking from a place not of an authority, but of a place of somebody who has learned how to put his pride to the side over the years. is that there's nothing more gratifying than coming to the realization that you don't have to make every decision. There's nothing better than knowing that you have competent people around you so that you don't have to. You should feel ashamed if you have not empowered the people around you to embrace their ability to make effective decisions. You
You'll
should
be surprised
never,
how much brain power, how much freedom you get by not having to make decisions all the time.
if you have whatever your partnership style is, monogamous relationship, whatever have you, you should, in my opinion, be encouraging that person to make more decisions. You should be encouraged. You should be like, just if you know that they have a hard time making decisions or a hard time taking this definitive stances in certain things, you should always be willing to ask them, so what do you think? What does this make you think of? Like, how does this make you feel? Get them into a place to where you can help them start building their confidence in decision making, because they don't always know how valuable their thoughts, their opinions, their knowledge is. And sometimes when people value you in a leadership position, there's nothing more gratifying than saying, this person values what I think. I get to, like, there's nothing that builds a person up more than being able to say, not only does your opinion matter, but your knowledge matters. What you have to say, what you have acquired over your lifetime to put you in said position, it matters. It has a place here. Same thing with your employees, same thing with your spouse, same thing with your girlfriend, whatever your circumstances may be. You should never, ever, ever make people feel as if their opinions or their information is invalid. Ever.
Go ask Mama for some squirt. She'll get you some.
See, even the kids agree.
That's the 3-year-old.
So now, the big question is this. Because the first thing that somebody might say is, okay, well, all that sounds good, but if that's not the situation that, that's not the situation that you have available to you, then what can you do? If you don't have an agreeable situation, you don't have somebody that's willing to work with you, you have somebody that's too bent off into their individuality, what can you do? What do you do?
You can do. There's literally only one thing you can do, and that is get on your own program and stick to your own program, and don't deviate from your program. That's all you can do. What's up, baby? That's your uncle.
I can't hear him.
I know, because I got the headphones on. But go ask Mama for the water, okay? All right.
She said no swear.
Baby, go ask Mama. Holy cow.
We're fathers around here.
Mm-hmm.
And make sure y'all wave at the kids when y'all see them pop up across the screen. We're family. Y'all part of our extended family too. All y'all over here in this little cyber chat, all y'all are extensions of our family in one way or another. Y'all all invited to the cookout.
Everybody in the chat is family, man. Everybody.
But we're not eating your potato salad.
You are family.
We're not eating your potato salad. Okay, Jose, I'm eating your potato salad because I know you can
use Heinz. As long as you make it with Heinz, we good.
All right, I'm not eating your potato salad either. Anyway, pertaining to that question, what I think it is that there's a root cause. There's a root cause of why people are acting out in their individuality. Now, I think that obviously there's a myriad of different reasons why somebody might be acting out in their individuality. I can tell you for sure that in my situations, some of my past situations, it was because of the fact that I would not listen. So the only way that said person could deal with me is to function in a like-minded way that I was functioning until I got the picture. Where I wanted you so much on my program that I didn't see the program. You weren't creating a play that everybody benefited from. It was just, I want to do this. I'm going to do this. I need you to stop, drop, and roll at a moment's notice. But you never articulated the we. How do we benefit from this?
That's a big one. That's a big one. And I think a lot of gentlemen can or anybody really can really benefit from that tip right there. Like if you're trying to get other individuals and people on your program, you have to give them the the win for them as well. They have to feel like they're a part of the journey too, not just I'm helping you and you get everything. I'm getting nothing from it. I get no recognition from it. Like I don't benefit in no way, shape, form, or fashion. If there's no benefit from everybody involved, you need to go back to the drawing board and rethink about your plan.
Because in your
Everybody,
mind, a lot of times, like you see the benefit, you know what in your mind is doing. And a lot of us, we are in our minds. We see it and we see it. Like it's so vivid, but we're not articulating it to those that we want to participate in it. So they are looking like, why do I have to make all these sacrifices? And they never, and it's not even so much a what's in it for me type thing, more so of a, I don't feel like I'm involved. I don't feel like I really have a place in your world. I feel like it's your world. It's kind of like, let's just take the podcast for instance. There are people who are not here because they didn't see themselves in this. And no matter how much you articulate and say this is a house that we are building, somebody didn't see the benefit of bringing the bricks over or laying the foundation or chopping down the firewood. They didn't see it as a we collective thing. They saw it as a, this is Mike Jones's thing. This is
and
his thing.
and that's where it stopped at.
And it's like, no, this isn't a me thing. That's why we came together. This is King Arthur in the round table. This is the court.
Right.
But everybody can't see that part of the picture. And no matter how much you try to articulate that part of the picture, it does not translate openly to everybody because they cannot see themselves in the long version of that picture. So I gave everybody a canvas and gave them paint according to your analogy. And some people just like, this picture looks stupid. I'm leaving.
They do. Like it's not turning into, and they move on.
You know, and you look at it as far as anything that you build, anything that you're trying to create with other people, you have to understand that number one, everything isn't for everybody. And number two, sometimes you have to consider how you're presenting things to ensure whether or not they truly have an understanding of what's in it for them or what their benefit is from it. Or, especially when we're dealing in a household situation, everything is about how they benefit. Me being in school, how do you benefit from me being in school? What I do for work, how do you benefit from what I do for work? I can enjoy what I'm doing, but I might not be making enough money. But I love what I do. How are you benefiting from my love for what I do if I'm not earning enough money to support you? So those are
I think a
there are
people
so many
have
different.
It's starting to lag. But I think a lot of people, going back to that King Arthur scenario, I think a lot of people that have these goals and these dreams really would like to know, you know what I'm saying, how do you get Merlin to see your vision? How do you get Sir Lancelot? We talk about the Knights of the Round Table. How do you get Sir Lancelot to see your vision? How do you get Sir Gawain to see your vision? How do you get Sir Percival to see your vision? How do you get Sir Galad to see your vision? You know, I'm sorry, I'm a nerd. I know King
Listen, I came up with the King Arthur analogy in the first place. Anyway, let's go ahead and close this one out, brother.
So, as you guys know, you have been tuned in to the Extraordinary Men podcast, and I appreciate every last one of y'all that rock with us, that has subscribed to the channel, everybody that likes to come in and leave comments. Everything is appreciated. You know what I'm saying? Not only are we doing this for us, we're doing this for y'all. Please make sure that you hit the QR code that's on the screen right now. Hit the YouTube channel, like, share, subscribe, and click the bell. Make sure you also hit us up on the Facebook Extraordinary Man Facebook group. And there, I keep telling y'all, and I'm going to tell you over and over and over again, it's a broken record here. This is where you can contact us and speak to us directly. Any ideas, concepts, anything that you got on your mind that you want to talk about, ideas that you want to bring forth to the show, we can discuss there, and then we bring it live here. So, you know what I'm saying? We have all these resources open and available for you guys to tap in. So take advantage of all this, and let's grow this community together.
What he said. All right. So y'all know me, Phil Jones or Mike Jones, have you know me personally and professionally, and y'all also know the greatest, single-handedly, the greatest addition to anything that mankind has ever created. State your name again one more time for the people.
Midas. Make sure you put a king in front of that. Let's go.
It's funny, we go ahead and get into the King Arthur thing, and then all of a sudden the King Midas. Anyway. Anyway. All right, guys. Thank you for your time. Peace.